Alright, so this is the section or sectional elevation. Alright, before we can start the sectional elevation, we have to find a point where we're going to cut the building. We have to, normally we are required to do two sections. One that when we cut the building latitudinally or horizontally, and one when we cut the building vertically. There are a few things to note when trying to choose a point, like how it will affect the roof. So if you cut it here, everything behind this portion you will see, anything in front you will not see. So let me copy this point to the front view. So I'm copying it from the edge, top edge of the building, dropping it at the top edge, and it will cut through the bathroom, it will cut through the living room, it will cut through this window, it will cut through the wall, this wall, this wall, this wall, and this wall. So sometimes you can move the points to where you would want to cut. So if you move up here, it will cut through the passageway, to cut through the door that is leading from the garage, to cut through the garage window, the living room window. If you look at the roof, you'll see where it will cut. Let me move the line down. Alright, so I'm going to choose a point that I want it to cut. So I'm going to allow it to cut through the living room. That's also good if you cut it before it reaches the highest point of the roof. It allows for easier drawing of the roof. You can still see the total height of the roof from where you cut it. So it's cutting through this wall. This where there's a window. Wall, wall, wall again, wall. Alright, so I'm going to do a bit of work for this. So I'm going to extend the garage window. Let me see the size of the window to begin with. 400. I want this to be bigger. By the time I extend it, it may pass through. Yes, it will pass through the window. So the garage window will be bigger. I want it to be bigger, so let me do it from now before I start drawing the section. So it will cut through the garage window after all. Alright. So once I've established my cutting plane line, I will now transfer the measurements. So this is the ground level. I'm transferring measurements from the elevation so that my life is easier. So I'm also transferring measurements downwards from the edges of the building. Well, in this case, not from the edges this time. Let me do something first. So this is my ground level. I'm going to establish what we call the foundation level. In this case, 900 millimeters. That's how low the foundation will be. And the thickness of the foundation footing, 300. I'll put 250. 250. So the foundation goes all the way to this level, and then the foundation footing before the walls are being laid will be 250. So these are the lines that I'll need. And in addition, I'll need a regular line, 300 millimeters from the foundation, the ground level, sorry. Then from the foundation, the floor level, rather, I have 2000. That is the lintel height, the height of the windows. I could have just transferred this measurement from over here. And then the wall height, 3000 from the floor level. So that is the height of the wall. So that could not be transferred from over here because as we realize it's higher than down here. So yes. Alright, so ground level, floor level, lintel height, wall height. You already know that from the elevations. Ground level, and then you have the height of the depth of the foundation, and from the depth of the foundation you offset 250 millimeters for the foundation footing thickness. So these are so you have these two extra lines here, fronts that are separate from the elevations. Then this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring down a line to the top, the second to last line, right? This line will represent the wall, and it starts from the top of the foundation footing. So I'm going to just copy this line that I've drawn from here, place it here, place it here. So I'm just transferring the measurements for the walls, if you realize. Let me do this one over. I think I may have made a mistake. I don't want to make any mistakes. Let me zoom in correctly. Alright. Right here, right here, right here, right here. Oh, this wall right here, and here. So I'm transferring the walls. Alright. After I've done this, I'm going to measure 150. Well, this now depends on the foundation drawing that I have. Let me see how far I offset these things. So the internal walls are offset them 100, the external walls are offset them 150. You see the internal trench, this is the thickness of the foundation footing for the inside wall. The width, and the width of the outside wall is 450. So 300 and 450. So this was on, let me go back to it. This was an external wall. So this is 450. Oh, sorry, 150 rather on each side. $150 on each side. And for these, 100 on each side. Alright. So for this, I can, instead of doing it on the others, I can just simply copy this to the rest of the internal walls. This is a 150 millimeter wall. So I'll copy this one that I did for the external wall. So it depends on the wall thickness. When I'm through, I can just simply trim the excess. So quickly I can do this, trim the excess. So you have the foundation footing, and the wall is sitting on the footing. Alright, the next thing we'll do, we'll trim these internal lines so that I leave the ground level on the outside. We're supposed to also get rid of these lines in here. I can shorten these. This is representing the ground. This is representing the ground. Then I'll now trim the floor level so it's only seen inside. Alright, you'll trim here because there's a window opening here. If you cut through a door, you'll have to leave it. I'll show you. So this is supposed to be trimmed, deleted. So the floor level is on the inside while the ground level is on the outside. Alright. Another thing I can do now, let me just draw a line, and let me show you why I'll draw this line here, random line. I'm going to trim here because I want to trim it off where the roof stops, or the wall stops. I can go ahead and now delete these. We can now go ahead and trim off this and this. Alright, so I'm going to leave this for now. There are some levels that we have to establish. The thickness of the floor is 100 millimeters, so we'll offset that downwards. Then the thickness of the sand under the floor, another 100. These measurements vary, but these are standard measurements that I'm using. Now the offset, we are going to offset another measurement, which is about 400. That varies as well. That is the hardcore. Those are stones and hard materials that are put under the ground in order to support the floor. Now, you have to look carefully where these walls are, what they cut through. If it cuts through a window, it will leave like this. If it cuts through a wall, like right here where the mouse is right now, it's cutting through a wall, we are going to trim out all of the part of the wall here. Right here, it's cut into a wall again, through a wall, through a window. Whether through a wall or through a window, you trim everything because the wall doesn't come all the way to the ground. If this was a door, you'll trim everything except this top portion, and you'll trim this here. So it shows that there's an opening there. But there's no opening, so I'll leave it like this. Let me trim here and trim here. There's no windows, there are no doors or any openings there, just a window. The window is an opening, but it doesn't go all the way to the ground. Alright, so let me look now. So all of this I can now turn all of this into my regular layer. Hold on. Alright, so that's the layer. So that's how this will look. Right. The next thing that we'll do is we're going to look at what we will be seeing. So when I cut here, in the living room, we'll be seeing this window. We'll be seeing the counter, but let's not focus on the counters as I said. We'll be seeing the window. In this room, we'll be seeing this wall here and the door. In this bathroom, we'll be seeing this wall here and the door. In the garage, we'll be seeing this wall here and there's a window. Alright, so let's focus on those. We are also going to look at what we are cutting through. So this window, this wall we are cutting through a window. This wall, just a dead wall, just a dead wall, just a dead wall. And then through another window. Let's draw those first. So we are going to draw a line representing that window. And we're going to draw the length of the window. We can now remember this from the elevation. 1,200, I'm presuming, for this one. Over here, it's also 1,200. The bathroom windows come down lower, as you would have on your elevation. There will be a door here. Let me transfer this door down. So it will start here. So when looking into the building, you will see this door. For the bathroom, you'll see this door. Alright. For the garage, you'll see this little window here. You can bring this down to the height that you want. Let me bring it down 600. Hold on, let me see what the length of this is. This is 800. Let me bring this down 1,200 as well. Alright, let me just look at my elevation to see what measurement. Oh, I can transfer this measurement. I wasn't realizing. Alright, so that's the measurement that I'm going to use. And I'll go ahead and delete this. In the kitchen, I'll be seeing this window here. And I know the windows in the kitchen are normally brought down 900 millimeters. It doesn't go as far as 1,200 because you have to consider the counter. You don't want it to go below the counter level. It has to be higher than the counter level. Alright, so I think I'm through with this line here. I don't think I need it for anything else. Then I'll delete it. So this is inside of the building. Alright, now let's take into consideration the roof. Now if we're realizing we're going to see this slope coming up. Normally I would shift this so it does not cut through directly through a rafter. So I'm going to have this line going up. This has to be 30. And over this side, let me do the extreme corners first. Those are easier. And you offset them 150 as in the elevations, right? 150 upwards. We can now bring down the fascia board for the roof. and then you can now proceed to extend. Alright, once you do that, you are going to now need to bring up this to see how far, to see where the slope would stop. And you bring this across. You have to bring this down to see where this slope would stop, which is here. So this stops lower. When you bring this across now, you need to know, see where it stops and goes up to meet. Alright, so this should have gone over more. So this should be here. This would be here. Alright, so you can do some deleting and trimming. Another point that you have to bring across now, you have to also, the point where the section line cuts the roof, right here, due to the corner, this left corner, it is on the left side. We're going to bring this line down and do cut the roof here. Let's check something here. Let me try this right corner. So it's right here. Bring this across. This here. Bring this across. The points where the cutting plane line cuts the roof, we're going to bring them across. There's a point, now there's another point that you have to take into consideration as well. It's here. So this edge, which one of the edges? Right here. This one. So this is an edge. So right here. I offset this. So this line would stop here. That edge, because it's for the extension part of the roof. And this line would stop here. Now you wouldn't see all of this rafter, because based on where it is cut. So you bring this up to here, and you fillet these. Alright, for the edges of the roof, now you have to close them up like this. And then another thing to bear in mind, after where the roof is cut, you will see it like normal, like it's an elevation. So this can be deleted as a matter of fact. So this will be like that, it will be like that, and then this is the elevation. So this part you will be seeing roof, and this part you will be seeing the roof. Now I can now transfer these. Alright, so this portion will be timbering. You don't have to draw that portion. What I'll do is to put timber roof framing right here. Then I'll just hatch under here. I can change the scale to 500 or 1500 rather. Right? This shouldn't have happened like this. Alright, let me do a first text. Then with a hatch. That's what should happen. Let me try that again. Okay, that's what should have happened. Alright. You can change this to a darker color if you wish, like that. Doesn't matter. Now all you're going to do is to draw in the fixtures. The counter now, the counter would be 1,000 millimeters high. So this is the height of the counter, and it goes all the way to the next side, and this is also 600. So if you realize this count, if the window was lower, it would go below the counter, and that's not what you want. Alright, so this is the 600 from the wall to this side, 600 from the wall to this side. There's a fridge here, so you should draw the fridge in front of the counter here, and you can now draw the cupboards and all of that in here. Right, so this is basically how you draw it. There are some things that you should put over each window or door that is cut through. You have got 200 millimeters of height. There's none here, so you don't have to put it here. There's none here. Only on the other side. Let me transfer this measurement. This represents the lintel that is over the door. And then you have another, the ring beam, 300 from the wall at top. You bring this on every wall, whether or not it has a window or a door. The roof has to rest on this at the top of the wall. Alright, so let's do some things here. We're going to do some hatching. I'm going to select my hatch line. I have to select a reasonable scale, 50 millimeters, 500 rather. Select the scale before you actually click here. You have less troubles when you're doing that. And everywhere that a wall, the block wall, like concrete blocks will be used, you put this. I think that's it for that. And for concrete now, all of the concrete portions, the footing, let me change this rather. Let me go open library, and I'll scroll down here until I see architectural concrete right here. And the scale, if you notice, I have to change the scale to about 15. Alright, so I'm continuing. And the lintels are concrete, and the beams on top of the walls, they call them ring beams or belt beams. Alright, so those are on the floor, the top layer of the floor is concrete as well. Alright, so that is concrete. The layer below the floor is sand. The sand and the concrete is similar, so you have to change the scale, not the scale, look for architectural sand. It's somewhere there. You will see it soon, right here. You change the scale a bit to about 20. And that is it. And the next layer, this is going to be hardcore. So you open, you won't see hardcore, you will see stone. So you scroll down until you see stone. Or graphite rather. Then this you have to change the scale bigger. So about 400 works, 500, 200, up to you. But that is it. And you want to show the ground under it. So I'm going to select this line that is called spline. Spline command right here. Then I'm going to draw some things around the concrete footing. You don't have to do it around every one of them. Well, you do it around all of them. Alright, so this is the last set of hatching that you would have to do. Press hatch. Hatch all of them. Then you're going to select something that is called the earth. Right here. And you can go 500 for the scale. I like to also change the angle to 45 degrees. and you'll see it at 45 degrees. Now, when you're through with that, you're going to delete the line that was used to create the border around the earth. So it will look like this. I think I want to change the scales, so I'm going to click on it, change the scale to about 800. Let me see how that looks. That looks better to me. That shows that there's earth. You can also change the color of this to a color that is earthy. Let's choose color. Looking for a brown with the color books. You can find your own color your own way. Alright, so that's a clayish looking color. Alright. If you want these things to be darker than everything else, you can also change the color. Yeah. So like that would work. All of the hatching, you can have them in a different color or in a different layer. That's what I'm doing now. Alright. That's up to you. So basically, in order to show that there's an actual window installed, you have to draw the two lines. To show that it's not just an opening, it's an actual window. And the same thing you do over the other side. So I'm just going to make myself do a bit of easy work and bring it across. Right, so since I have this window here, I'll just copy it, put it over here, and then you'd have to draw the window here, right here. Let me see, alright, let me see if there's a door here that I can borrow. Let me see, let me check another plan. If you have your doors already, then you can just copy them and paste them, otherwise you have to draw them from scratch. Or you can download them. Let me see if this will fit. It will indeed fit. This one is a bit smaller, so I have to adjust it a bit. Let me explode it. You can change the color if you want. Alright, so that's very small. You can put in this on your own time. So this is the section drawing. Alright, there's another thing that you should do in this section drawing. You have to also show the name of the rooms. So the living room, I'll just copy this. You can put kitchen because it's showing right in the kitchen. And this is cutting through bedroom number 2. This is cutting through the bathroom. You can make the words smaller. And this is cutting through the garage. And the next thing you have to do is to show measurements, like from the foundation to the ground, from the ground to the top of the wall, and then this to the top of the roof. Then inside you're going to show from the ground to the wall, then from the wall to here, to here. Then you're going to show the height of the beam. Then you show the rest of the measurement. You can also show the height of the room. You can show the height of the door. You're just showing vertical measurements here. So when the person is building, they would know what to do and the different heights that they're going to be using. Same thing over here. So this side of the roof here. Let me bring this out more so it doesn't interfere with the fascia board, or the overhang rather. And on the inside you're going to show. And you can also show that this window is a bit higher than the rest. So these are the measurements that you're supposed to show in the section. So this is the sectional drawing. So you're going to put the sign under it, then change the scale, and then you can now create a new layout. Then in that new layout you're going to put the sectional drawing, and you change the scale for the 75. So that's it. I think this is for the section. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to duplicate this layout. Now I'm going to put the elevations. What I can do is put them side by side, or one above, one below. I'm going to copy them and put them where I want them. Zoom in, change the scale to 1 to 75, and there I have my elevations. So on the first page, floor plan, second page, foundation plan, third page, roof plan, fourth page, the elevations, second and the last page, the section. So that's basically all the pages. So that's it.